me pass the rock right here, I got the shot. Dunking over top of all the mental blocks. Bust through doors, how you gonna do that? If I'm in your space, how you gonna react? What the hell you doing here?
What's up, guys? Reminiscent of some old school intro days, huh? Let's talk about shooting today, huh? What do you think?
Everything's on fire. Everything's on fire.
Man, I got all this animal hair on me. My wife has a zoo at home. I don't like it. Don't tell her I said that. How to simplify your shots. Welcome back to Streetball Strategies.
Get them big guns on me, got them big ones on me. Boys like Tupac clone me, boy I'm like Biggs big homie. Boy I'm like two Shaq and Kobe's, four of them dudes can't hold me. Born for this, the Lord of this, I'm Morpheus, I'm just
Since shooting is one of the most complicated and complex parts of basketball, and arguably the most important part of basketball, I thought today we should talk about simplifying how to do it. You guys know that I'm all about keeping stuff as simple as possible, and through doing that, there's gonna be a lot of stuff, a lot of details that go into shooting that I'm gonna intentionally skip over. And the theme about keeping your shot simple in this video is going to be all about balancing the ball correctly in your hands. Because one of the most common mistakes when it comes to shooting the ball inconsistently is the ball coming off of your hand off of balance. But a ball that is balanced on your hand correctly, when you shoot it on balance, a ball that's balanced is a ball that you can control. And a ball that you can control is a ball that you can shoot consistently. Frickin' Michigan Falls. Temperature never makes sense. So let's start off with your set hand position on the ball. So a lot of people think that there's a specific way you need to have your hand on the ball to have an optimal shot. And like I said, you could go into depth on this, but the broad overall goal and picture is to have your hand set on the ball in a way so that when you bring it up to your loaded position from your set position, you have optimal balance. So let's talk about your shooting hand to begin with. In order to do that, you just want to get your hand on the top center of the ball. It doesn't really matter where you put your hand on the ball, other than it should be somewhere on the top and in the center. Not too far forward, not too far back, and certainly not on either side. Top, center, whatever is most comfortable to you. Now let's talk about finger placement and how far you should spread your fingers. This is going to be different for everybody, especially if you're younger and you still have smaller hands. It's going to be up to you where and how you place your fingers and how far spread they are on the ball. What I will say is that these three fingers are responsible for your control and your touch when it comes to the release of your shot. So you want to make sure that these three fingers are placed optimally on the ball to give you the best balance possible when you bring it up to your loaded position. They don't have to be spread super wide. They don't have to be close together. It's all about what feels most comfortable and most balanced for you. In terms of your guide hand, it only serves two very simple purposes. One is to protect the ball from any defenders, and two is to make sure the ball comes up through your shot path and into your loaded position as unbalanced as possible. That's all. It has nothing to do with your shot. It has nothing to do with the release of the ball. It only has to do with protecting the ball and making sure it stays on balance. That being said, you want to have as little contact of your guide hand on the ball as possible. Some players even only use these three fingers when they bring up the ball on their shot path. They don't do this. This would be weird, but they sort of take their thumb and their pinky off the ball as they come up. I don't do that. I can use all five fingers on my guide hand on the ball. It doesn't bother me. It's not a distraction. It helps me keep the ball on balance. So all you need to remember about your guide hand is use this to protect the ball and use it to keep the ball on balance the whole way through your shot. It's all about comfort and controlling balance. Speaking of your shot path, what you want here is a straight horizontal line. As straight as possible, as horizontal as possible, with as little diagonal movement as possible. A lot of players load the ball right here in the center of their body, and that's fine as long as when they shoot, they then shoot from the center of their forehead, meaning doing so allows them a straight shooting path. For me personally, I find that when I try to square up to the basket and then shoot from the center of my body, meaning I have to set from the center and then load from the center, what happens for me is I find it puts unnecessary stress and tension on my elbow to keep my elbow in the center of my body, because I have to flex my shoulder to bring my elbow over to keep it in center of my body. What I do instead is I slightly turn my body so that my shooting side, my hand, my arm, my leg is squared up with the basket instead of my entire front of my body. Doing so allows me to set the ball right here on my shooting side so that when I bring it up to my loaded position, now it's a straight line from my leg up to my hip, up through my body, and now I'm straight up into my loaded shooting position. Doing so alleviates that pressure from my shoulder and my elbow, because I'm not trying to force it into the center of my body, because it no longer needs to be there, because now essentially the center of my body is the side of my body turned slightly to now be squared up with the basket. Shoot however feels best for you, whatever works best, whatever feels most comfortable, and whatever gives you the most balance. But what you don't want to do is, if you set in the center of your body, don't bring the ball up to the side. There's diagonal movement there. It's going to throw the ball off balance, especially the quicker you're trying to do it in a quick shooting motion. Wherever you set, that's where you load. It's one straight, fluid, vertical line. The release of your shot could very well be the most complicated, complex part of the shot. When you release the shot, what you want to do is to snap your elbow and your wrist at the same time. Now obviously there's a whole bunch of other stuff that goes into shooting the ball well and consistently, but for the sake of keeping the ball on balance and keeping things simple and trying not to let you guys overthink your release, all you really need to think about and keep in mind is the feeling of snapping your elbow and your wrist at the same exact time. Doing so allows you to have optimal strength and power behind your shot, as well as balance as it's leaving your fingertips. One of the reasons you may be shooting too hard and you may be having too much power behind a shot is because you are snapping your wrist before your elbow is fully extended. Also, if the ball's coming up short, if it's coming off your hand flat, there's not much arc to the ball, it could very well be because you're snapping your wrist after you've extended your elbow. To get the best possible power and balance out of the ball when it comes off your fingers on your release, you should be snapping your elbow and your wrist at the same exact time. Again, I skipped over all kinds of details when it comes to shooting, especially jump shooting. There's a lot of stuff that was left out. I understand that, but I'm just trying to give you guys the simple, most basic fundamentals that go into how to shoot a ball correctly. The less you have to think about a shot while you're doing it, the more you can feel how your body is performing the motion. That's why the best shooters can shoot a ball and know immediately as the ball is leaving their hand whether or not the ball's going to go in, because they can just feel it. And a huge part of feeling it is whether or not the ball was in balance the entire time, and did it come off their hand in balance. Like I said, any questions that you guys have, comment below let me know and I will answer them or make additional videos to explain the other details that go into shooting. But if you did find this video helpful, if you liked it, please give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Subscribing is huge for me right now in this life cycle of this channel. Subscribing is probably the biggest thing you guys can do to help me out, other than just sharing the videos with as many people as possible. And make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified of when all of the videos on this channel come out. I know YouTube's algorithm can be messed up sometimes, and sometimes you're not notified of when new videos come out, especially because right now I don't really upload on a consistent basis. Like I don't consistently upload on like Saturdays or Wednesday. The day differs throughout the week, even though I do make sure I get a video in within at least one every 7 days, but it can be different days in that 7-day period. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when that new video comes out. So thank you guys again. I hope this video was helpful. I will make more detailed videos on shooting in the future, and until those videos, I'll see you guys next week.
You are now in tune with that bond. I am coming through like a comet. Commas, profit, all in my pocket. That's knowledge. I'm about to come through and make a deposit. You are now in tune with that bond.